Happy day, everyone, and welcome back for another Duck Dive. If you're listening in from down under and running a business, well, you know that the online world can feel like it's changing faster than a drop bear falling out of a gum tree.
Yeah, it can be a lot to keep up with.
And one of the biggest changes lately has got to be this thing called Google's Search Generative Experience, or SGE for short.
It's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it, SGE?
It is, but it's kind of a big deal. We're talking AI-powered search results, so it's pretty much changing the game for how people find information online, and that includes finding your business.
That's right.
So today we're going to break down exactly what SGE is, how it works, and what it means for all you Aussie business owners out there.
Sounds good to me.
Awesome. So first things first, let's make sure we're all on the same page. What exactly is SGE? Can you give us the quick lowdown in, normal human speak?
Sure. Basically, you can think of SGE as Google learning to read between the lines. So instead of just matching keywords like those old school searches, it's actually using AI to try and understand what someone really means when they're typing something into that search bar.
So it's like Google's getting a whole lot smarter.
Exactly. It's going beyond just the words themselves, and it's looking at the intent behind the search. So, like trying to figure out what the person is actually looking for.
That's pretty impressive. But how does that actually work in practice? Can you give us an example?
Sure. Imagine someone searching for best coffee in Sydney. But instead of just typing those keywords, they actually ask Google a question like, hey, Google, where can I find a cafe with great outdoor seating near Circular Quay?
So they're talking to Google like it's a mate at the pub.
Pretty much. And that's what SGE is designed to handle, these more natural, conversational types of searches, which is a big change from how we used to search. Just chucking in a few keywords and hoping for the best.
So as a business owner, what do I need to do differently to adapt to this new way of searching?
Well, the big thing is you need to start thinking about how people actually talk when they're looking for a service or a product like yours.
So it's not just about keywords anymore.
It's still important, but it's more about understanding the language your customers use. Think about the questions they might ask, the phrases they might use, the way they describe what they're looking for.
So if I'm a plumber in Melbourne, I shouldn't just focus on the keyword plumber.
Exactly. You need to think about the specific needs of people in Melbourne. Like maybe they're looking for someone who specializes in fixing old pipes in those Victorian-era houses, or someone who can handle emergency repairs on a public holiday.
So it's all about getting hyper-local and using the language that my target audience actually uses.
You got it.
Okay, so this is starting to make sense. Now I'm curious to see how all of this actually plays out in the search results themselves. What will people be seeing differently when they start using SGE?
Well, imagine this. You search for something, and instead of just getting that big, long list of blue links, you get a conversational answer at the top of the page. Almost like a mini blog post that's been written just for you.
Whoa, so it's like Google's become my personal researcher.
In a way, yeah. It's trying to understand your needs and then summarize the most relevant information for you in a really easy-to-understand format.
That sounds pretty amazing, but also maybe a bit overwhelming.
I can see how it could be. But think about it from the user's perspective. They're getting a more personalized and efficient search experience. It's saving them time and effort.
Okay, yeah, that's true. But for us, Aussie businesses, especially those of us who rely on local customers, how does this shift in search results impact how people find us?
It's actually a huge opportunity for local businesses.
Really? How so?
Because SGE is all about context and intent. It's actually going to favor businesses that have a strong local presence.
So if I'm a cafe in Bondi, I need to make sure I'm showing up when people are searching for best brunch spots with a view or something like that.
Exactly. You want to think about how people would naturally describe their search using local landmarks or even slang terms.
Okay, so local SEO becomes even more important with SGE. Got it. But what about content? With all this emphasis on AI and conversational search, does the type of content I create even matter anymore?
It matters more than ever.
Really?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, Google still needs to find and understand your content in order to include it in those AI-powered search results.
So what kind of content should I be focusing on?
Well, think about the kinds of questions people are asking about businesses like yours. What are they curious about? What problems are they trying to solve? And then create content that answers those questions in a clear, comprehensive, and engaging way.
So basically, I need to become a mind reader and anticipate what my customers are going to ask Google.
Something like that. But it's really about understanding your target audience and creating content that's genuinely helpful and relevant to them.
So it's not just about stuffing my website with keywords anymore.
Nope. It's about creating content that provides value and answers real questions that Aussies are actually typing or speaking into Google.
That makes a lot of sense. And don't forget those rich snippets and knowledge panels.
Oh, yeah, those are crucial.
They're like the VIP seats of the search results page, right?
Exactly. And with SGE, they're only going to become more prominent. You want to make sure your business is featured there front and center.
So how do I get my business in one of those coveted spots?
Well, it all starts with your Google My Business profile. Make sure all your information is accurate and up to date, add some high-quality photos, and write a compelling description of your business using keywords that Aussies are likely to search for.
Gotcha. So basically, I need to treat my Google My Business profile like it's the online version of my shop window.
Exactly. Make it eye-catching, informative, and easy to find.
I like it. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. SGEs is all about understanding the user's intent and providing the most relevant and personalized information possible.
Yep. And for Aussie businesses, that means upping our game when it comes to local SEO, creating top-notch content, and making sure we're showing up in those rich snippets.
It's a whole new world of search out there.
It is, and it's an exciting one.
Absolutely. All right, listeners, we're going to take a quick break, but we'll be back in a jiffy to dive even deeper into how you can leverage SGE to boost your business. Stay tuned.
Welcome back, everyone, to our deep dive into all things SGE. Now, before the break, we were talking about how important it is for Aussie businesses to nail their local SEO, create killer content, and make sure they're showing up in those rich snippets.
Yeah, all that stuff is still super important.
But now I want to get down to brass tacks. Like, what are some practical things that our listeners can do right now to make sure their business is ready for this brave new world of SGE?
Well, first things first, let's talk about mobile optimization. We touched on it before, but I really want to hammer this home.
Go for it.
Aussies are glued to their phones. We're talking checking emails on the train, ordering takeaway from the park, you name it. We're doing it on our mobiles. Yeah, true. I've even seen people scrolling through TikTok while waiting in line at the supermarket.
Exactly. It's a mobile-first world down under, and that means your website absolutely has to provide a seamless experience on any device.
So responsive design is a must.
You got it. No more pinching and zooming or tiny text that's impossible to read. Make sure your website adapts to any screen size so people can easily find what they're looking for.
Makes sense. But what about the actual content on those mobile-friendly pages?
Think about how you use your own phone. You want information quickly, right?
Yeah, nobody's got time to waste.
Exactly. So keep your content concise, use clear headings, and make sure your call to action, whether it's book now or find a store, is easy to tap.
And page loading speed is super important too, right?
Absolutely. People will bounce faster than a kangaroo if your site takes too long to load, especially on mobile.
Okay, so fast loading, responsive design, clear and concise content. Got it. What else?
Now let's talk about voice search. It's becoming a huge part of how people search, especially when they're on the go.
Yeah, I use voice search all the time. It's so much easier than typing.
Right. And here's the thing. Voice search queries are often more conversational than type searches. People talk to their devices like they're talking to a mate.
Oh, yeah, true.
So instead of just focusing on short, generic keywords, you want to start using long-tail keywords, those longer, more specific phrases that people use in everyday conversation.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. Let's say you're a florist in Perth. Instead of targeting the keyword florist, think about how someone might actually phrase a voice search. They might say something like, "Hey Google, find me a florist near Kings Park that delivers native flowers."
Okay, yeah, I get it. So it's about using those longer, more natural-sounding phrases.
Exactly, because that's how people actually talk. And by incorporating those types of phrases into your website copy, you'll be more likely to show up in voice search results.
Makes sense. So we've got mobile optimization, voice search. What else?
Let's not forget about social proof.
Ah, yes, the good old reviews.
They're more valuable than a snag at a Barbie.
Haha, love it. But seriously, though, why are reviews so important in the age of SGE?
Because SGE is all about understanding what users actually think of businesses. Reviews tell Google and potential customers that your business is trustworthy and delivers on its promises.
So encourage those happy customers to leave glowing reviews.
Absolutely. And make it easy for them. Provide links to your Google My Business profile and other relevant platforms where Aussies are searching for businesses.
Okay, so make it easy for people to sing my praises. Got it. Now, before we move on, I want to address something that I think might be on a lot of our listeners' minds.
Go for it.
All this talk about AI and algorithms and changing search landscapes, it can feel a bit overwhelming right now.
I get it. It's a lot to take in.
Like some days I just want to chuck my laptop in the bin and go live in a yurt off the grid.
Uh-huh. I hear you. But seriously, it's important to remember that you don't need to become a tech whiz overnight.
So don't panic.
Exactly. Start with the basics. Make sure your website is mobile-friendly, optimized for voice search, build up that social proof. Those are the foundational steps that will make a big difference.
Okay, so baby steps. What about Google My Business? That's still important, right?
More important than ever. Think of it as your online shopfront, your business card, your welcome mat, all rolled into one.
So it's the first impression people get of my business online.
Exactly. And with SGE emphasizing local searches and user experience, you want to make sure your Google My Business profile is sparkling, like a freshly cleaned Barbie.
So double-checking my opening hours contact info and uploading some snazzy photos is a good starting point.
Definitely. But don't stop there. Think about what makes your business unique. Do you specialize in a particular service? Do you offer eco-friendly products? Use your Google My Business profile to highlight those selling points and use keywords that Aussies are likely to use when searching for a business like yours.
Gotcha. So treat my Google My Business profile like it's the window display of my virtual shop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Make it eye-catching, informative, and make sure it showcases what makes your business special.
Great advice. Okay, so we've covered mobile optimization, voice search, social proof, and the importance of keeping our Google My Business profiles up to date.
We've covered a lot.
We have, but there's still more to explore when it comes to the impact of SGE on Australian businesses. Welcome back to the Deep Dive, folks. We've been talking a lot about how this SGE thing is changing the search game, but now I want to look ahead, think about the bigger picture.
Yeah, it's not just about keeping up with the changes. It's about trying to anticipate what's coming next and being ready for it.
So where do you think all of this is heading? What's the future of search look like?
Well, I think SGE is really just the beginning of a much bigger shift towards a more intuitive, personalized search experience. AI is going to play a huge role moving forward.
Okay, so it's like we're entering a whole new era of search.
Exactly. And for businesses, that means we need to start thinking differently about our online presence. It's not enough to just have a website and hope people stumble across it.
Yeah. So it's less about just existing online and more about actively shaping how people find and interact with my business.
That's a great way to put it. With SGE, it's all about intent. So if someone's searching for, say, vegan leather shoes in Brisbane, but your website only talks about footwear, SGE might not connect the dots.
Makes sense. So I need to be super specific about what I offer and use the language that aligns with how people are actually searching.
Right. Think of it this way. SGE is like having a conversation with your potential customers. You want to make sure you're speaking their language and giving them the information they need in a way that's easy to understand.
So instead of just chucking a bunch of random keywords on my website, I should focus on writing content that answers specific questions using natural conversational language.
Exactly. And here's another thing to think about. As search becomes more personalized and intuitive, it's more important than ever to really understand your target audience.
Okay, so even though we're talking about all this fancy tech, the human element is still super important.
Absolutely. In fact, AI can actually help us enhance that human connection. By using AI tools to gather insights about our customers, we can create more targeted and engaging experiences that really resonate with them on a personal level.
I like that. Using tech to be more human.
Exactly.
So what's the one piece of advice you would give to our listeners, especially those who might be feeling a bit overwhelmed by all of this change?
Don't panic. Take a deep breath and start with the fundamentals. We talked about mobile optimization, voice search, social proof, and Google My Business. Those are the key areas to focus on. And remember, there are tons of resources available to help you along the way.
Okay, so don't try to do everything at once. Just focus on those core elements and build from there.
You got it.
Awesome. Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, but I think the main takeaway is that Aussie businesses need to adapt to this new world of search. And that means understanding how SGE works and making sure our online presence is aligned with how people are searching.
Well said.
So to all those entrepreneurs out there, keep experimenting, keep learning, and don't be afraid to embrace the changes that are happening in the digital landscape. And if you ever feel lost or overwhelmed, just remember, we're all in this together. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.